So, have you noticed that when you're discussing retirement with your friends or watching YouTube videos, it's all about the money, the math? How much do you need? When should you claim your Social Security benefits? How much should you have saved? How much will you be able to withdraw from those savings in order to support yourself during these retirement years? It's always about the money and the math. Well, after recording a certain amount of videos and I started thinking about this process, I'm wondering if there should be a different question that we're asking ourselves. Is not just, do you have enough money? What type of lifestyle do you want to live? How do you know if you have enough money if you don't really know what life you want to live? And when you think about it, the age at which you started saving for retirement, you were a lot younger. So that version of yourself, who she was and where she thought she would be in retirement, may not actually be this senior citizen version of yourself. They may be two completely different people. And the vision that the younger version had and the vision that you have now in this season could be not even close. So you made an assumption when you started. You assumed that that vision would carry you forward. It would carry you now. And so everything that you were saving for and planning for, that's what you would start living. But what actually happens if you're someone like me, where the version that you planned for, fast forward 3 decades, the version of me that is living out right now, they're not the same. How do I go about adjusting for that change? How do I go about supporting or resourcing that life, or this life, I should say? It isn't just about the money, it's about time, resources, and energy too. So I'm Sherry from SherryLouMiller.com, and lately I've been on a series talking not just about claiming Social Security benefits, but what do we expect those benefits to fund, and what lifestyle do we want to live? What is it that we want to experience in this season? So we're starting from the question of here and now, in this present moment, when you're evaluating whether or not to claim your benefits, when you're going to claim them, or how you're going to spend the benefits that you've already claimed, are they resourcing the current version of you, or are they resourcing, are those funds resourcing a past version of you that you haven't let go of? Because throughout these last few weeks, I realized that when we made the decision to start saving for retirement and planning for retirement, we made some assumptions. Maybe we assumed we would be married. Maybe we assumed where we would be living. Maybe we assumed that we would not work at all during retirement. Maybe. We made some assumptions that may or may not be true. So for myself, if I look back when I started thinking about retirement versus where I am at age 63, I would not have thought that I'm on YouTube making YouTube videos. I'm writing Substack articles because I've never liked to write. I'm not a writer, but I'm enjoying it. It's allowing me to express myself in a different way. I wouldn't think that I would be selling digital products online, that I would have had a successful Etsy shop. Those were not things that were in my consciousness at the time. Being an entrepreneur, solopreneur, it's always been. But back then, there were things that I wanted to do, but the internet was not this version of what it is now. AI is definitely changing a lot of things. So there are more opportunities for you to get started with almost zero money than there were back then. There were things that I wanted to do back then that required a huge amount of money to get the business off and running that I didn't have. So that affected my choices at the time. So the version of myself that I envision now, I don't know if I thought I would still be starting a business. If I was honest, I probably thought I'd be running a successful business now, not starting from the ground floor up. And that's okay because this business fits this version of my life. Throughout life, things change. Mindset changes. The things that we feel important change. What matters to us now change. We as individual, me as a woman, I've evolved. So that version of me has evolved through different challenges, through different struggles. It has brought me here. It has shaped the woman that I have become. And this version of myself, I want different things. My priorities are different. The things that I want to share in my business are now different because I have different life experiences that I didn't have at that time. And some of them have changed my perspective on how I see these years. Because back in the day, when you retired, most people retired. They might travel, they may start gardening, they do things that are more leisurely. Now, in this day and age, we are still actively doing things. Women, in particular, I think there's some statistic about how many women entrepreneurs there are in this stage after age 55 plus. We are just stepping outside of corporate America, or maybe we were running a household and now women are empty nesters. So we're not looking to just sit around and not do anything. We're building businesses. And that wasn't so, I think, 30 years ago when I look at planning out my retirement years. So when I start to think about that time period and looking at how much money would be needed in this season of my life, I was looking through a different lens. I was looking at different things that I anticipated that I would need versus what I actually need, and more importantly, that I actually want. That version was not thinking about traveling Europe. That version of me was not thinking about financing a 90-day trip to Italy. That version of me was still living in Michigan. Whereas now, I've moved several times since then. That version of me didn't want a second home in Italy. So all of these dreams, all of these visions, they are coming from different life experiences, and they are requiring an entirely different amount of money to finance. They require that my business do something that I had anticipated that it would have to do 3 decades ago. I am actively building a plan now about how much revenue I would have to generate in order to fund that life that I want to live, to travel throughout Europe at least twice a year, to eventually have a part-time home over there, which means depending on what country I decide on, their visa requirements, there are different things. Maybe this time around I'd have to hire a lawyer to do it. It requires a different level of finance. So with your vision, as you evolve, your money has to evolve with you. So the question is, when you say, how much money do I need in retirement? The next question is for what? What do you need the money for? And then you can determine how much money you'll need. But if you don't really know what the money is paid for, what life you want to live, how do you know how much money you need? So this is what I'm going to leave you with today on this video. When you're trying to figure out your retirement planning, yes, you're looking at Social Security. For some, that'll just be a bonus. For others, it'll be more of a necessity. It meets everyone at a different place on their journey. And you can only look at what you need. You can't compare your life and your lifestyle to someone else because your experiences are yours. What you want for yourself, your vision is yours. And don't allow yourself to don't allow your vision to shrink because you don't think that you have the money to finance the vision or lifestyle that you want to live. So the question is, what lifestyle are you trying to support? Once you can answer that question, your entire conversation, your entire planning process starts to shift because now money as a resource and as a tool has a very specific role. You have decided this is what I'm trying to finance. This is how much I'm going to need. Now, if you don't have that, what am I going to do to reach that goal? And when you're evaluating the goals and the milestones and you're figuring out the steps as well as the financial portion of that process, I also want you to take into consideration, are you financing an old vision that you've outgrown, or are you financing a life that you are living now and allowing for the funds to continue on with you on the journey that you're on now? Not the path that you were on, but the path that you're on now. So you're looking at the past vision. Is that what you're still financing? Or have you allowed not only your vision to evolve, but you want your finances to evolve with it? So you're looking at, I need this much now, and to continue on with this version of my vision, I'm going to need this. That's what I want you to ask yourself. And when you can answer that, then you move to the next stage of, well, claiming at 62, 65, 67, what age will claiming benefits work best for me based on the life that I want to live now? So next week, I'm going to have another guest on, and she and I are going to talk about her journey. She's actively deciding when she would like to retire and when she's going to claim benefits. So I hope you'll join us next week, back here, on this channel, as we continue to discuss the different aspects outside of just the math of claiming Social Security, but also how that money will be used to support you and your lifestyle. As usual, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.